Hi, in this tutorial, I'll walk you through the steps necessary to set up an Amazon Workspace with FSL. A workspace is just a remote desktop in the cloud stored on Amazon servers. The first step is to create an AWS account. I'm not going to walk you through that, but after you create your AWS account, you should be able to log in to the AWS Management Console. Once there, you should be presented with this search box, and you can type in Workspaces and click on the link. Once your Workspaces page loads, the first thing you want to do is set the region. What I mean by that is in the top right-hand corner, you should be able to choose the geographical region closest to where you want to work from. Mine is set to Europe, Ireland, or EU West 1, which is fine for me. If you happen to be on the East Coast of the United States, you might choose US East 1, and that would give you the best performance and the best connection. So the first thing you need to do is to create a directory, which is just a place where Amazon stores all of the information about your workspaces. On the left-hand side, there should be a series of links. So click on the directories link, and then click on the Setup Directory button. Here you have a few options. By far the most cost-effective option is Simple AD. If that's not available to you because of your region, then the next best option is to choose an AWS managed Microsoft AD. It's a bit more costly, but it will give you all of the same features and allow you to set up a workspace with FSL. So I'm going to choose Simple AD in this example. Once on this page, go ahead and set up a few settings here. The first one is it's asking you if you want a small directory or a large. Just choose small, because in most cases you're going to be setting this up for yourself or maybe a handful of people. For organization name, you can type in almost anything you want here. So you could type in, for example, your name. So you could put something like my name, and then a directory DNS name should follow this pattern in the example that you see here. So you could type in something like myname.cloud.com. It just needs to be unique for Amazon, not for the web in general. You don't need to type anything into NetBIOS because it's optional. For an administrator password, just type in a good, strong password here. And you don't need to type anything into directory description, that's optional. Click Next. Here, most of the time, just leave the defaults. If these settings don't mean anything to you, then it's best to not change them. So leave them as they are. And click Next. And at this stage, it will give you a summary of everything you've asked Amazon to create. And now you can create your directory. I'm not going to do that because I already have one created. So I'm going to click Cancel. But once this, you should be taken back to this menu. And once you see this screen, you'll most likely see a status say something like creating or pending, and registered will say no. What you want to do is, after the status goes to active, maybe after a few minutes, select your directory you've just created and then choose register. And that'll be almost instantaneous. Once you're done setting up a directory, you can then start creating a workspace. To do that, click on Launch Workspaces. You should be able to choose the directory, which is where everything will be stored for your account. It should be in this drop-down box here. And then once that's selected, click Next Step. Your username can be anything you want. If there's characters that Amazon doesn't like, it should tell you. So in my case, I'm just going to create a test user, first name And last name can be anything you want or anything that's appropriate. And the email needs to be an email that you can actually check, because the final activation link will be sent there. So I'm going to click Create User, and you'll see that at the bottom of your screen, we have one workspace, one potential workspace selected, and it'll be for this user. So once your user appears down here, click Next Step. There's a lot of options on this page, but what you want to do is click on the Linux standard with Amazon to Linux. So that's a good option to start out on, and if you were in the recent online FSL course, these are actually what we used. From there, just make sure that your configurations look okay. You can input different values for the storage here. So this is 80 gigabytes on the root volume, which is where most of your system settings will be. And the user volume is where you'll actually store most of your data that you would work on. And you can increase this value to be something higher, for example. I'm going to leave the defaults. Click Next Step. Here, you can choose to have your workspace always on, which means when you log in, you're instantly presented with your desktop as you left it, or it can be an auto stop desktop. And what that means is that after, in this case, an hour of inactivity, it will go into a suspended state, and you're not billed for that period, which is nice, but it does take a little bit longer to log in if it's waking up from a suspended state later on. I will leave it as that just for this tutorial. Next step, and this is just a review page to make sure that your settings are all correct. I chose to not do any encryption, which is unnecessary. It's a bit overkill in this example. So you can now click Launch Workspaces. And you'll see that you'll get a notification that after about 20 minutes, your workspace will be available, and the activation link will be sent to the email that you input earlier. Once you've clicked the activation link in the email that was sent to you after about 20 minutes while your workspace is being created, you'll be presented with this web page or one very similar, and you'll see your user details that you entered in. And now you just need to set a password. It needs to be something generally strong. And if it's not strong enough, the web page will tell you. So the usual things like a capital letter, numbers, and a special character. Click Update User. And you'll be taken to the Workspace's client page where you need to now download the application so that you can actually log into your remote desktop. So I'm on a Mac, so I would download the Mac client. If you're on Windows, you can download that, and Linux as well. So now that you have activated a workspace and you have downloaded the Amazon Workspace's client to your computer, you're ready to open up the client application, and you will type in your registration code, which was sent to you in the activation email as well. Click Continue once that's typed in. Next, you will type in your username that you set when you created your workspace and your password that you set when you completed the activation email. And type that in, hit enter, and you are presented with your workspace. Yours may take a little longer than mine just did because I've logged in previously already. Now that you're inside your workspace, we need to open up a web browser. So choose Firefox down in the bottom taskbar. go to the FSL installation web page. So in the search bar here, you can just type FSL installation. Go to the FSL wiki page, click download FSL. So here we need to agree to this FSL software license. Type in some information in here. Choose your country. For your operating system, it doesn't really matter what you choose, but just choose one of the CentOSes that's close operating system to what we're working on here. And now you can download the FSL installer script and choose Save File. The download should be fast, so that's done. We can close our web browser. Next, we need to modify a security settings file on our system. So to do that, you can type in what I've typed here. So we need to have sudo in front of this command because we need root privileges to edit it. Once you've typed that in, press enter to open up the editor. You may need to type your password. Once that file is open, scroll to the very bottom, and there's the last line has a minus sign. Change that to a plus, and click save, and then close that file. Now we should be able to run the next command, which is the actual FSL installer. So if you're not there already, go ahead and cd into your downloads folder. And you can start typing python fsl installer.py. And we're going to give it a directory to install to. And you can just copy what I'm putting here, but it's going to be $home/FSL. And that says, please put it in the user directory for our current user and in the FSL subdirectory. You can press enter. You may see a few warnings. That's okay. It's just letting you know that this Linux distribution is a bit different from others, but it will work. This should be a fairly automated process. If it looks like the installation is stalled or it seems like it's unresponsive, just be patient and give it some more time because it's doing a lot in the background to set up FSL and to download additional packages that it needs along the way. Once your installation has finished, you'll be instructed that you need to log out and log back in. So go ahead and do that. You can close your terminal and close your Workspace's session out, and then just log back in to your Workspace from the client app. And doing this should be good enough to satisfy our log out and log in. To test that FSL is installed and run some example programs, you can open up a terminal and type bet. And bet is one of the programs that was installed with FSL, brain extraction tool. If you type bet with no arguments and no options, press enter. It should give you the help text as the output, so that just shows that the program does work. Another example is you could type fossilize in the command window in the terminal here with no options, and it should open up the fossilize application, which is the FSL image viewer. You could add a file from the FSL standard directory, so we can add MNI 152T1. And that looks nice. Looks like it's working as it should. can close fossilize. And as one last example, we can type in an example program that we know should have a graphical window like feet, so the fMRI analysis tool. And there we go, we have a feet window, and we could start analyzing data. Speaking of data, if you would like to download the FSL course datasets and work through them on your own, you can go to the FSL course website and choose Quick Links, click Course Data, and we have an option to download a script which helps you automate the downloading of all of the large data sets, and you can pick and choose which ones you want, which is really nice. So click on the download script link and save it. It should be very fast. Then open a terminal, and you're going to want to move this file so it has downloaded automatically to downloads. So we want to type mv for move, and we'll go into downloads, we'll get the FSL DL Python script, and we will move that to desktop. And once it's been moved, we can change into our desktop directory and call the downloader script by using FSL Python after you have installed FSL already. So this assumes you've done everything up to this point and FSL is installed and working fully. So you can use the FSL Python command and then run fsl dl.py. It'll give you some instructions and ask you a question. You can press enter to just accept the defaults to save to your user home directory. And then you're presented with lots of options to download specific data sets, or if you just want everything and you want to work through the entire FSL course on your own, you can just type all and hit enter. And then it will start downloading the data sets and put them in your home directory. And that's it. You should be completely set up to work through the FSL course on your own on a machine that you can just have running in the cloud. It doesn't take up space on your laptop or your home computer or your work computer. And you can log into it anytime you want.